What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today is part 4 on the series of Boomer's Project Lawn. It's time to give you guys an update. So why don't we go ahead and jump into that, and I'll see you right back here in a second. All right, y'all. It's been almost 2 weeks. As a matter of fact, it's been 13 days since I did applications over here at Boomer's house. I wanted to give everybody an update on how things are going and just a quick walkthrough of what it's looking like right now. So before I turn the camera around and show you what's happening, let me just go ahead and mention a few things. Number one is that I ran with an application that I saw fit based on what I was seeing here, which was to give this lawn a full pound of N to get it up and get it moving and woken up and ready for the season. So that was the step one. I flooded an area to help push the salts down in a different spot and didn't really do anything special there. I applied 3 of the biostims, no microgreen. So that was all done on that day. I sampled the soil, did everything I was supposed to. We got the water turned on. So now let's talk about the weather. The weather here's been cold. I wouldn't say optimum turf growing, but I'm gonna tell you that this lawn was about 4 weeks behind everybody else. And you could probably tell that from how I started on it, plus I'd already done an application on my other neighbor's yard when I was working on that thing. So this one was a bit behind. We set the irrigation to make sure it was going. It is now almost June. The temperatures are about to start being agreeable, but enough of all that. Let's take a look. So before we get into the big reveal, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like it, comment. I have a feeling most of you out there are already part of this, so I don't have to keep reminding you. But if you're new, welcome. Love to have you. Let's get back into it. So I want to touch on a few things that I mentioned at the beginning of this. And number one is the weather. Sure, it hasn't been particularly agreeable, but that's not really enough to hold up the lawn in as bad a shape that it was before. Now that we're hitting temperatures into the 70s and trending up towards the 80s, everything is going to be moving along pretty quickly here. Now, if you want to get a comparison to why I said that this lawn was so much farther behind than others, all you have to do is click over to either the Sunjoe dethatcher video that I have right here, or the lean, mean, and green video that's right here. Either one of those can kind of show you what lawns in the neighborhood we're already looking at coming out of dormancy and really where they should be had they been cared for a little bit more. I don't know. Let's walk it, just check it out. I think that we're doing pretty good here. That's a dead pot gut, and that's the dog responsible for doing the spots. There's what's left of the salt damaged area. So we're clearly gonna fill this in. It's getting really close. I'm gonna have plenty of pictures up here for comparison. And we're gonna go check some of the turf density and where some of the thinner areas are. Now, if you see, there's kind of these like slightly lighter spots here. You can kind of see that a little bit. We're still kind of working and filling in a lot of those like dog spot areas, and that's where the grass was the thickest, was in those. So when the mower came through and cut it, you know, it cut it down and maybe gave it a little bit of stress because it was so thick. But let's just take a look at this. I would say that we're on the right track for sure. So we are 2 weeks away from the next application where it's gonna get a 1/4 pound of N with the green punch like I outlined before. So it's gonna go ahead and get that. The weeds are non-existent. We're doing good there. I don't really see anything that's new. We'll just walk through here and look. I'm getting a little bit of germination out of my spots that were filled, so we still have a little time to get these in. They're not quite there, but I think a lot of that's temperature related. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that we're marching in the right direction now. This is looking pretty dank, super dank. So definitely a thing to note here is that we are dealing with spring flush, also along with the feedings and everything that has been put down from 2 weeks ago. Now that material is just kind of starting to hit its stride. So a lot of this is just making sure that the water was on, it's being properly done since we are in a drought, that it's been mowed, that we're just sort of starting to even things out. And I can say that cultural practices for this lawn played a lot into the look of it coming into this spring and early summer. One of the best things you can do to have a healthy lawn is make sure that you're mowing regularly, and that is something that I was talking to Boomer about, is making sure that he's out there with his mower on a regular basis, getting that thing cut, getting it used to being cut, and not letting it turn into a shag carpet. I'm gonna raise this up as much as I can and walk over this, because you saw it on the drone and how dry and gray and bad everything was. I think we're doing good. I think we're doing good. See, we still have this like little bit of clumpiness here, right back here like this. This was all the thinnest spot. So all of this is still waking up through here on all this. But we're getting there. We're getting there. It's not an overnight process. This is nothing that you would expect miracles out of, but I'm gonna say that it came along pretty good. One thing I'll point out is that this was cut down about 36 hours before I went out and shot this video. So it had already started to sort of grow and get into those little clumpy spots that you could see from before. That's why you can see some of those little bumps back there, because the grass is already starting to kind of grow up past that first cut. Let's look in here. Just see, this is where it was the thinnest. You can see right here, it's still pretty thin right here. But look at how much we've come alive. Here was where one of those dog spots are, so you can really see the difference here to here. My goal is to get the whole lawn like this, and it's starting to get there. But now that we've hit this sort of stride where we're gonna have temperatures in the 70s rather than the 20s, there were 3 snowfall events out here over the last 13 days, and it's been cold. So all in all, I'd say for a 2-week project update, we are doing exceptional. What do you think? So now the big question is, where do we go from here? Well, I outlined in the last video of what the next subsequent feedings are going to look like, and I'm just gonna run it, like I said, straight off of that soil test and the recommendations that were on that soil test by Ward Labs and the agronomists there. So they recommended 100 pounds per acre total for the course of the season for this lawn based on the soil test. So let's just run it off that 2 1/4 pounds to get me through to the end of the season. At that rate, I have to run 1/4 pound of N pretty much from now until the end of the growing season, and for us that's going to be short. So it's going to get hit June 10th, July 10th, August 10th, and September 10th, and then pretty much we are going to be going right back into winter dormancy. So for me to get 1/4 pound of N out, I'm going to use the liquid, I'm going to use Greene Punch, and I'm going to get that out, and it's gonna look great. We're already hitting a stride to where the nitrogen that I put down is just barely starting to get used. By the time I come out there, the lawn is even gonna look better than it does right now. So we're gonna continue to follow up with this one along the course of the season, and my goal is to help my friend become consistent with his lawn care and have that place looking awesome all the time. So I think I can do it. Hopefully it helps a bunch of you out there as well to just stay consistent with your feedings, consistent with your mowing, making sure your watering is correct, and just having a good time in the lawn. So that's it for today. I will talk to you guys real soon.